Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Chris here from Fake Sports News, Axis Rotation, however the flip you know me on these interwebs. And today I'm going to be bringing you guys something a little bit different, but something slightly familiar. I will be doing my usual tournament recap, but something a little bit different is coming today. I'm going to do an audit of my performance in Pick'em. So, hope you guys enjoyed the intro. Hope you enjoyed all of our dream hack action this weekend. To all of you who stumbled upon the page, maybe from some YouTube shorts or some interesting moments from the COD season, thank you guys who have shown love and support. There have been thousands and thousands of people watching this season. Please be sure to give your boy a like, comment, or subscription. I do this after work. It's currently 7:30 as I'm recording this. I have not taken a day off since January. I'm trying to be the best CDL analyst on YouTube. All my other friends who do data and analytics on the COD side, they do not make content. So I'm trying to be the one who unifies all of us for the casuals and tries to get us out here, tries to make this game great, like John Boy, Flight Mike, any of the guys in NBA or MLB or NFL that you know who are content creators and analysts like myself who get into the data and the other sides of the game. So enough about that. Thanks for all the love and support. Just wanted you guys to know what I am doing from a transparency sake, matching my passion with recognition, support, love, and kindness. And I'm going to keep going harder for you. So there's a lot more to come. Just be ready for it. All right. Anyways, let's get into the bracket. We kick things off with the Miami Heretics taking on the Minnesota Rokkr. Let's look to Chris from the past to see if Chris from the future is going to be pleased with my performance from Major 1. Or Major 1. What am I saying, dude? Major 4, brother. It's Major 4. The year is over. All right. Without further ado, let's let Chris from the past do a little bit of yap. Our last major of the year, Major 4. I'll be giving you guys a quick preview of what to expect going into this weekend's matches in beautiful Dallas, Texas. Great intro out the boy. Not biased. Now, currently, hope normal Thursday start time. So, wanted to explain all this. I think everyone has a pretty clear winner in their minds, which is the Miami Heretics, who have looked much improved since adding Super at the start of Stage 3, going into their home major, right? So, in our next series of teams who did not do well in final, but to do that, they would have to get through the LA Thieves, which personally, I'm thinking Thieves here, even though the Surge are hungry and they do want that dub. These two teams match up very well, but LA Thieves, they just seem to have the better footing in this matchup consistently. So that's why I'm backing them here. All right, so quick audit, guys. Let's see how the first two series did in the first matchup, the first bracket. I'm sorry, the first bracket, the first cohort. So the 130 matches, your boy swept. I was right. Series was right. Maps, not so much. 3-1 ended up being a 3-0. 3-2 ended up being a 3-0. So, yeah. You know, it is what it is. So, on to the next. Let's see how I Speaking of teams who do not have better footing against Vancouver Surge, we have Atlanta Faze, my home team, who has not looked great against Vancouver Surge when they have played this year. So, since they're playing Cloud9, even though this is a Cloud9 team that they lost to last week online, I have Faze coming out hot and getting a 3-1 here just because everything that I've seen otherwise from them in the quals said that they've made the necessary improvements to not have an embarrassing major like they did at Major 3. Okay. So let's see how that aged. All right, that aged like wine. 3-1 for Atlanta Faze over Cloud9. Let's go, Chris from the past. Bangeroni. Let's get it. Next one. Now, speaking of teams who are looking to have very polar opposite majors from their Major 3 performance, we have Optic Texas with Mercules, the Major 3 standout, the real storyline in Major 3, if we're being honest, taking on
he was
a
a real
team that
Major 3
really
storyline.
put that storyline on the map, right? He played for Toronto
Optic's
Ultra.
biggest fan base. So.
Of course, not to cut myself off so abruptly, but shut the hell up, brother. You were wrong. All right. So as you can see, I've recorded this once, but you know, sometimes the recordings go straight to the recycle bin. Anyways, overview time. Let's look at the Optic Texas versus Squirrel series. Let's see how they shook the tree and got those squirrels right back down to the ground after a very lofty Major 3 placing. Now, looking at it, we of course can see that Hook, the nuke, was the man who shook the tree, whatever you want to say, got those squirrels out of that damn tree. Hook dropped a 1.54 in hardpoint, a 1.14 in S&D, and he had a 0.81 in control, which is negligible when you're frying like that in the other two modes. So, in the more numerous modes in the series, that boy Hook was a problem. And let's see how he got it done. Oh my lord, 39 and 23. the nuke was absolutely nuking on map 1 Vault Hardpoint, ladies and gentlemen. And his duo, Shotzi, they were looking like, what's his name? Jim Carrey in Sonic when he was dancing with his grandpa in that scene. And I posted on Twitter a few months ago if you guys remember that. So, I mean, 2/3 of the XEO, Zeo, however you pronounce it, trio. Shout out to Illy, who recently retired. They looked great. And on the Toronto Ultra side, surprisingly, Insight, the guy who's usually at the slowest pace of the team, the one who I said is easily exploitable. Let's go back to that actually, because that did not age well. Said in my recap video, if you missed that earlier today on the channel at time of recording, go back and check it out. I think it was online cheese for the Toronto Ultra. I don't think that they're as bad as they showed in the 2 series that they lost really decisively, which was the 3-0 to Optic, and then I believe a 3-1 to the Vancouver Surge. So, yeah, I mean, Toronto online, one thing that's been consistent for them is just inconsistency. So that's why I'm liking them here on LAN. I feel like they're a team that when they get to LAN, they do become a little bit more serious, a little bit more locked in. And this Optic team, they have improved recently, but I haven't seen enough convincing metrics to tell me that this Optic team would take down a team like Toronto that's looked good all year long, even though people thought that for some reason they should try out Mercules in place of Beans when Beans was the one who got them to being a top 4 team in the standings all year long. Merc literally played for 1 weekend. I get the thought process, but why would you go for an Okay, so I'm not going to let myself rant there because I know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to say. Yeah, I mean, I still stand by that. Like, even though the series did not go the way that I expected, obviously, as you guys can see, I still stand by the idea that replacing Insight or Beans with Mercules would have, in retrospect, been a very short sighted move. It wasn't a guaranteed upgrade. And for a team like Optic Texas, who was in need of a guaranteed upgrade, it just made sense for them to overspend and try to fix their ship and right their wrongs for the season than it did for Toronto to try to throw a spanner in the works, see if maybe Mercules gets them from what, top 3 to maybe top 2 or top 1. That wouldn't have been a clear upgrade. I mean, there's nothing that would make them a clear contender with Thieves and Faze other than probably gutting that team, having Kleenex and Joe Deceives, and then getting 2 more AR players at this point. So that's why, long-winded explanation, I was not too sold on the Toronto Ultra upgrade, because at this point, the only upgrade that you're looking for as a CDL team, right, is to swing up to first. You're not trying to swing up to third. Vancouver Surge already proved that you can hit the ceiling of getting to second best, and it really doesn't matter. They're 0-8 in grand finals. If anyone proved that the Mercules move would have been absolutely vertical, it's actually Neptune. Because think about it. They made a 1-player change, right? They picked up the touted Challengers player that everyone said would be the set and forget piece that made them a top team to compete with Faze and, of course, LA Thieves. But how have Vancouver Surge looked in finals? I rest my case. So what I'm saying is, to compete with a super team, you have to beat a super team. And to beat a super team, you have to build a super team. And you know who built a super team this season? I instinctively called it out. I did not think it would happen. The Miami Heretics. I thought if they brought in Super, got rid of medals, kept Lucky for a leadership play, I thought they had a chance to really usurp some of these top teams. And they did. But they made the change I wasn't expecting them to. So Miami proved, like I said in my last video, I'll get to it later. Miami is the improvement of the Surge model. I said it would be a test. I thought that Miami is 0.5 Surge. It turns out that they are perfected Surge, just like Perfect Cell. They are the perfected model. So enough ranting about that. I just had to say that. You guys, you know, I do my own thing on this channel. If you want to skip around, you can skip around. Feel entitled, brothers and sisters. But, you know, I'm an analyst. I get deep into the game. That's why you guys are here. I offer a unique perspective, and I'm going to keep doing that because those of you who appreciate it, you appreciate it. Those who don't get it, they don't get it. It is what it is. It's like jazz, right? Going to keep playing this song. The people that love this song, going to keep dancing. The people that don't get it, you know, there's other music on the radio. Change the station. So, speaking of changing the station, we're getting into Map 2 Dealership S&D, where Hook and Shotzi came back with a vengeance to close it out 6-4. Those boys said, you know what? We look really good in this series. We don't want to give back that momentum. And yeah, they didn't. So looking at the Map 3 protocol control, of course, that being one in favor of the Toronto Ultra. What do I have you guys looking at? I have you guys looking at absolutely nothing right now. All right. I'll superimpose some stuff, probably have some like highlights on the screen or something. Who knows? You know how I do. Anyways, map 3 went the way of the Toronto Ultra behind a 23 and 22 from Dashy on the Optic side. He's the only one who had a really strong performance. Of course, Shotzi was right there with him with 21 and 21, but it just wasn't enough to compete with a Toronto Ultra side where Joe Deceives was breathing super hot fire with the 26 and 18 and 3100 damage. So that's how we got to map 4, red card hardpoint, where Optic Texas took out that damn belt. And they said, what are you doing, Toronto Ultra? Mercules, Torcules, Hercules, don't matter. Optic Info, we're sending you boys down to the losers bracket. Get it out the mud, get it back in blood, whatever you want to say. And that's how the green wall stood tall after all, ladies and gents. Enough rhymes. Let's move down to elimination round 1 before I commit more crimes against humanity with these terrible fucking rhymes. Anyways, let's look at the next series where we had the Minnesota Rokkr and my boy Quavo Kenny taking on the Boston Brioche in one half of the bracket. And then the other half of the bracket, we had the Vancouver Surge taking on the Vegas Falcons, Pred, Exnid, Priesta, Arcides, and we'll get to that in a second. You have a player that's played with you all year. It just doesn't make sense. Like, if you're Ultra, you're not making
all right, Chris. All right.
Yep. A deep run at
you
this
spit, brother.
So anyways, in Elim round 1 at 4:30, later on Friday, of course, we will have the Minnesota Rokkr taking on the Boston Breach. And just because Rokkr are trying to stay alive at champs, I'm going to script. Maybe this is hopium, but I'm going to script
not hopium,
Christopher. I think this is the last time that we probably will see them on the year, but I think they'll try to make it worthwhile, and they will try to make a deep run at this tournament because, guys like Kenny, Nero, Geo, and of course Estriel, their pride's on the line here. They want to make champs. Kenny's a world champ. He won last year. I mean, he's going to be screaming at these guys like, guys, get me back on the main stage for champs, please. Like, that would be way too embarrassing. So, yeah, I get it from Ken's perspective, and that's why I have Rokkr beating a team like Breach, who have looked very good on lane at times, but they've also looked to be very flat at times. So, okay, so let's break these things down piece by piece. All right, so Minnesota Rokkr, as you guys can see, ball knowledge was elite from your boy. Minnesota Rokkr got that done in 5. I said it would be 4. I know you guys are like, why would you switch up? You literally have said Minnesota Rokkr in 5 for months. I know, guys. I know. I've said all year long, these CDL orgs, they actually have identities. Rockr's a game 5 org, like, I know. You abandon consistency, and consistency makes a fool out of you. I know, guys. I know. The jokes write themselves. All right. So instead of the jokes writing themselves, let's write the wrongs of the Boston Breach by looking at the series and seeing what the heck went wrong. Monday morning QB time, ladies and gents. Let's quarterback this shit. All right. Looking at the match MVP, it was who else but the evil emperor himself, Nero. That boy said, I might be your father. All of you, Boston Breach. Because, as you guys so famously know, Nero played for Boston Breach for a while. So, looking at the map 1, Estriel, Nero, Kenny, and Geo got absolutely slammed. The objective efficiency from the Boston Breach was absolutely phenomenal here. As you guys can see, they weren't massively outslaying like that, but their objective efficiency was par excellence, okay? So looking at this, I mean, going into the second rotation of Hills, right? I mean, Boston was outscoring these guys 148 to 63. That just means that every time that they were getting kills and getting a wipe, they led to more effective time than Rokkr in mass, right? Like, after the P2, it was over. So, I mean, that's just a great showing from Boston. Obviously, they are going to champs, Rokkr or not. So, in terms of improvements for EWC, I guess, Rokkr, can look at this, but Boston, definitely look at this one. Feel good about it. Now, one that Boston will not feel so good about is the round 11 red card S&D that went the way of the Boston Breach, not only in their dreams. It went the way of the Minnesota Rokkr behind a 13-7 from Nero. He said, Emperor for a day? Nah, man. Emperor for life. So, that 13-7 led the Minnesota Rokkr to a 1-1 in the series. And then on the vault control, in heartbreaking fashion, the Boston Breach, say it ain't so, cuh, they pulled it out in round 5. I thought Rokkr were cooked here. Kenny was having a phenomenal game. You were having a rare stinker from Nero in the series. He was on point the whole time. This was really the only map where he struggled just a little bit. And damn, it was heartbreaking. I thought it might be over for Rokkr. I was like, damn, bro, that might be their season. Boston's such a good hardpoint team. We're going into a Vault HP that Boston is very formidable on, especially against a team like Rokkr that's not necessarily a top-rung team on the ladder. I mean, I was very nervous for Kenny and my boys. You guys know I was a massive, massive Vegas fan last year. Gio and Nero were on Vegas, so you guys know I'm supporting those guys. And it was really sad for me that they didn't qualify for champs for the second year in a row, along with Johnny. So let's not talk about it. And then Attach retired. Yeah, it's been a week, guys. Faze got slammed. I mean, the Knicks are. Let's not talk about it. Let's move on to map 4. Vault HP 230 to 229 in favor of the Minnesota Rokkr. I'm going to have some highlights on the screen in the background. You guys know from the watch party, I got a huge library of content. So these videos are going to be better. And yeah, I mean, the Rokkr, they were better here, right? Like, and they took that momentum and they made their year a lot better. It made it look like there was some hope left in the tank, right? So, yeah, I mean, on one side, you had Geo 37 and 30. You had Nero dropping 50 and 38 with 5,400 damage. This is the second best performance of an individual that we saw this year. Ironically, the number one performer is a man that we will talk about in the next series. He goes by the name of Exnit, and he is a shooter. All right, speaking of shooters, we got to map number 5, and they looked like Shooter McGavin out there in his prime. My lord, it was 6-1. Estriel, 8-4. Kenny, 8-4. The good hair duo, they got it done, and they took the series. Now, let's see what me from the past was thinking about this Vegas versus Vancouver series, because oh, Lord, we have one to talk about. I don't know. I feel like it might be another one and done for Breach. They haven't really won 2 matches on LAN in a tournament, I don't think, this year. So that's why I like Rokkr. And then in the bottom half, elimination round 1, we have Surge versus Vegas Falcons. I think this is where the Falcons season ends. How honorably it ends is the question that remains to be seen here. But, you know, it's just been a rough year for that Falcons camp. They went all Saudi to start the year. Then they abandoned that Saudi project. Brought in some NA players, of course, Pred, RCs, and Boston? Whoever it was they beat. I know they beat Optic. The second one will come back to me. Yeah, maybe. They beat Rokkr. But anyways, Rokkr, I think that's it for the Vegas Falcons series season here. I think the Vancouver Surge or the LA Thieves, no matter who drops to face them in the slower bracket, I think they're going to farm them. And yeah, it's not going to be pretty. Play some stop the match! Stop the match! All right, so let me go back to, as you guys could hear, I don't know if I put that in OBS the right way. But anyways, Vancouver Surge, I thought they would take down the Vegas Falcons. I thought that when they dropped to the Vegas Falcons, they would handle business and stand on business like they should, like they have been all year. I did not think that they would give the Vegas Falcons their 3rd win on the season in 27 odd attempts. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, talking about the Vegas Falcons' 3rd win on the series, this time a signature win against one of the best teams in the Call of Duty League, the Vancouver Surge. Now, how in the blue hell did the Green Vegas Falcons topple the now called Smurfs that we know as the Vancouver Surge? I mean, looking at it, who else but Pred was a series MVP. He bet on himself. He said, fuck it, my prize pick's going over today. Because you know what? I'm taking a series. I ain't leaving here with nothing, as they say. You know what I'm saying? So, that boy Pred, he said, hey, map spread, spoiled bread, no tread, don't matter. Vegas in 5. So that boy, let's see how he got it done. Because I am so excited to break this one down. This was honestly one of the best upsets that I've seen in years. Like, I was not expecting this one. This is like when you watch an NFL game. If you guys are NFL people like I am, this was like watching the Lions fall apart in the playoffs earlier this year. Like, there's something that's ultimately satisfying as a casual viewer about watching a massive upset, or like watching the Commanders do what they did this year. Like, it's just fun. So anyways, looking at the map 1, the man who I called out a minute ago as our current 2024-2025 CDL hardpoint record holder. That is a mouthful, but I have to give the man his due. 3,900 damage with 40 kills. This brother Exnit, he is up next. We should start calling him Nexnit. God damn, that brother's raw. You guys know I've been singing his praises literally since some of the first few weeks of the CDL. I said, hey, Kicks and Exnid, they're the two players who have real potential in this team, in my opinion. This project can do well if they build around those two. Obviously, Kicks had some personal stuff, had to step away. But my guy Exnid, he has been proving me right all year, and he dropped this 40 piece. That's why I'm giving all the passion. He went nuts, even though it was 250 to 160 in favor of the Vegas Falcons. I would like to think that the passion out of Exnid led to the map 2 victory. Pred went 14-4. He went absolutely bonkers. His teammate Priest was right there with him with 7-4. They were the absolute duo here. They ran Surge the work on this rewind S&D, and they rewound that belt, brought it back, and gave Surge some vicious lashing on Hacienda control, with a unexpected 3-0 for the ages. Guys, this is insane. 0-4, 10, and 24? Y'all, look, all I'm going to say, this is professional play. If you have a bad day, you will be made to pay. Not to make it rhyme, not to be cheesy, but it was just too easy to rhyme all that. And my lord, these guys absolutely belted the Vancouver Surge. Minus 14 for a guy that made grand finals at Major 3. I'm not just playing this up to clip farm, guys. This video is long as hell. Most people are not even going to see this. This is just a genuine reaction for me. Now, let's get into map 4. Map 4, genuine reaction, business handled. Abuza 33 and 23. 0-4, more characteristic game out of him. 23 and 22. Nasty 24 and 24. Nap 23 and 21. Honestly, I think they just got shell-shocked by the map 2 performance, and then control on Hacienda for them has been very shaky for the last few weeks. So a team like Vegas Falcons, who I've always said, you guys know, if you go back and watch, I've said it all year long, they're map 2 and map 3 dangers, and they always have been. And they proved it in this series. They won map 2, 3, and 5. So they got it done in the map 4. They looked way more like themselves. This was a signature Vancouver Surge map win, but they could not chain it into a signature Vancouver Surge dealership Game 5 performance, because who else was there to stand tall and stop it all but my boy Exton. For the season, he got the upset of his life, the upset of the year, and you know what? He was the MVP while he did it. It's super fitting. This guy stuck through the whole project that the Vegas Falcons had this year, the failed Saudi project that turned into an American, I guess, struggle bus team, right, if you want to call it that. I mean, Exnid, he should be commended for sticking with that. And, you know, he deserved this win. So I'm happy that these guys were able to just kind of lie in wait and just strike at the right moment, get a signature win for themselves. They can feel a little bit better going into EWC and their summer, knowing that they at least tried their very best, and they were able to do something at the end. So there are more events to come. Well, one more event. But Vegas Falcons, all is not lost. So I know I spent a long time on that, but like I said, guys, that's the upset of the year. Like, I'm entitled. Anyways, let's get on to the next series that I want to cover, which is Cloud9 taking on the LA Gorillas. Yes, LA Gorillas. So let's get into that. I know this video is already super long, but it's the end of the year. There's not much content coming after this. I got to do what I got to do, guys. Serious spoiler here. They have 40 points on the season, maybe 50. They are very formidable in map 1s. They've also shown recently that they are very formidable in map 4s. They are not a team that you want to allow to come back into the game. Nope. So, yeah, as a New York Knicks fan, I just got Indiana Pacers flashbacks. Fuck this. Optic, Texas, Royal Ravens. We're going on to the next series. I'm not talking about that anymore. Cloud9 versus LAG, guys. And let's see how it went down. So, Cloud9 got 3-0'd by the LAG. They monkeyed around and got absolutely diddy-bopped by Kismet and the boys. They couldn't stop. They wouldn't stop. And I don't know why. Now, looking at the series, we're not going to go super in-depth because, like I said, these boys got absolutely diddy-bopped. Let's see how things went for the series overview. Lunars, surprisingly, was the match MVP. He had a 4.33 in S&D. Oh, my Lord. 1.42 in Hardpoints. Okay, goddamn. Let's just see Lunar scorelines. I mean, damn. 27-19, Kiz 32 and 29, 33 and 29, excuse me. Fellow 27-24. Map 2, Lunar's 13 and 3 out my belt. Map 3, Johnny. Oh, 35 and 23. We're closing this tab, y'all. All right. Ooh. All right. Anyways, Optic Texas, Carolina Royal Ravens. Yep. Mercules, Hercules, Torcules. Don't matter. I think Merc's going to fuck these boys up. 3-1. Right. Excuse my French. I just don't. Excuse your French. Yes, sir, Christopher. All right. So, Mercules, Torcules, Hercules did not F those boys up, as I so eloquently said. But the Toronto Ultra did. Yeah, not a lot to take away from that. I didn't predict this matchup. I thought whoever dropped would beat the Ravens. I just thought that they were kind of free. I didn't like what I saw from them in quals, so that's that. Not really going to look at the box. Well, let's look at the box score. 2 good teams. Let's not be lazy about this. I mean, the video's already long. Who cares? Who cares? So we're not going to go super in depth. This was not really a series to look at too deeply. Ultra was not a real contender on the weekend. Neither was Ravens, so not going to go too deep into this. Let's just look at it at face value. So Joe had a 1.49 in hardpoint. He had a 0.65 in S&D and a 1.21 in control. So he had an absolute banger of a series. Let's look at, so 250 to 155 for the Ultra in map 1. Then the Ravens were able to bring it back on dealership S&D with a 6-3 performance, 11 from Tej. Protocol control went the way of the Ravens, who were able to chain that map 2 momentum into map 3 momentum with 35 and 27 from Gwyn and 30 and 26 from that boy Slasher Litigoat. Map 4 went the way of the Toronto Ultra, 250 to 175 behind an absolute blinker from Toby Kleenex going 31 and 21, and his SMG duo Joe C's right there with him 29 and 20. And then in the map 5, it went to a game 5 round 11 on Protocol S&D between 2 of our best Protocol S&D teams, it must be said. And Ultra looked better in this one. They were able to walk away with it behind a 10 and 8 from Benjamin Beans, man of the match, and his European duo in Insight with 9 and 6. So let's get back to the brack and see how our 7:30 matchup looked, guys. So let me go back to the video so you guys can see that. Our last matchup of Elim round 2, we have the Minnesota Rokkr taking on the Vancouver Surge. And I think this is where the Minnesota Rokkrs Cinderella story finally ends. I think the shoe gets put back on Cinderella's foot. I think the fairy godmother, she summons the pumpkin carriage thing. And okay, well, spoiler, the shoe did not get put back on the foot. The Minnesota Rokkr, their little Cinderella story kept going. The fairy godmother did not bring that carriage. And, them boys kept dancing. And let's see how they kept the dance going. The jazz music intensified. It did not stop, ladies and gents. Nero, the hero, went absolutely nuts. Look at the map 1. 250 to 222 in favor of the Minnesota Rokkr. Let's check it out. Nero. Emperor for life, 47 and 23. What else is there to say? He nuked the whole lobby. Let's go next. The red card S&D went 6-3 in favor of the Vegas Falcons. Like I said, they are map 2 and map 3 demons. And that boy Pred AG went absolutely demonic on them, dropping 11 and 4. Then in the vault control, we of course had the Vegas Falcons. Like I said, map 2 and 3 demons, getting it done. And yeah, they looked great. Honestly, everybody on Vegas, with the exception of Arcees and Priesta, were positive, and Arcees and Priesta were like barely neg. So they looked great. Map 4, Hasi Hardpoint went the way of the Minnesota Rokkr to bring the series even 2-all behind a strong performance from who else but Kylo Ken, the guy who I said would be screaming at them, I want to make champs. He was screaming at them, I want to make champs, and he tried his very best here. So they chained it into a Game 5 dealership where they absolutely skill diff the Vegas Falcons. Kenny went 11 and 4. He just sat forward, and Nero also sat forward. They were like, we want to make champs. Nero's like, I haven't been in so long. I want to go. So, yeah, let's look at the next matchup, guys. I'm going to have to switch my mic because my mic's about to die. All right, here we are. Okay, this is where the Minnesota Rokkrs Cinderella story finally ends. Did not end with Mercules, Hercules, Torcules, whatever you want to call him. You will be saying his name after Optic Texas gets this done in 5. Okay, so lower bracket. Let's see how that looked, guys. Let me switch screens again. Sorry if I goofed and some of the stuff isn't on screen. I'll fix it in post. Excuse me. This is going to be a long editing job, so yeah, I'm in for a long night. But anyways, Optic Texas was not here. It was the Toronto Ultra who were here. They got a 3-1 over the LA Gorillas. Not really one that I'm going to dissect too much. It's LA Gorillas versus the Toronto Ultra. yeah, I mean, it was just grunt farming. Like, let's look at the next series, which was our first series of Winners Round 2, which saw the Miami Heretics taking on the LA Thieves. This was a surprising one. Let's see what I had to say, right? Now, stay with me, guys. We're going back to the top half of the bracket. Yes, Winners Round 2. We're going to see if the Vamos is stronger than the Thieves' ability to steal this series. I think the Thieves, I think they're going to steal this one. There's no honor among Thieves, as they say. And they have no honor or respect for this Miami Heretics team. Every time they play them,
they don't have respect for them.
They just absolutely skill diff them. So I like Thieves here. I'm thinking Thieves. On the other side of the bracket, I'm thinking something similar. I'm thinking we get a red winners finals once again. I think Faze, they've shown to be in a league of their own. Toronto Ultra, they've had some questionable series in the last couple weeks, especially online. They've left a lot to be desired. And Insight's playstyle has been very slow and very, very exploitable. So, conversely, I think Faze, everyone on that team has looked phenomenal. Simp has improved on his mistakes lately. Abizi has been Abizi. Draza and Cell have been consistent really this whole stage. And the stage before, it was really Simp's fall off and Abizi's slight fall off that were the problem. But both look to have regained control. They both look to be playing their game once again. The Tiny Terrors are terrorizing. That's why I have as a 3-1 for Faze against the Toronto. Okay, so I had as a 3-1 for the LA Thieves. You guys could see I let that go on a little bit longer just because, you know, I didn't want to interrupt the flow of conversation there as you're listening to the clip. But let's check out how the Miami Heretics got it done. This was a bad blood series. I'm going to go over this pretty in depth just because, like I said, I'm not worried about the runtime of this video. It's already at 35 minutes. Like, it's fine. You guys are used to me doing long videos. Like, I'll give you guys something to eat with. So, yeah, my guy Rancor. The guy whose name I've been saying all year long. The guy whose praises I've been saying all year long. He dropped his nuts on it. I just have to say it, guys. I have to say it. I mean, what else am I supposed to say? Drop the keys, drop the mic, like, drop his nuts. I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's COD. Like, guys are literally getting into a fist fight on the main stage. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. Like, it is what it is. Map 1, Hacienda Hardpoint went 250 to 151 in favor of the Miami Heretics. My lord, that belt was booming in this series. Those boys really wanted this win. Because look at these stats, guys. I mean, wow. Rancor 31-17, Super 21-15, Real 23-20. I mean, Miami, in my opinion, at this point in the year, I'm just going to say it as a Faze fan, I think they're the best Hacienda team in the game. I do. I think at this point, they are the best Hacienda team in the game. That map is built for those guys. Like, Super can be so annoying in the hallway, top dark, bottom dark, lobby, P2. I mean, it's just made for those guys. Real just runs that thing down. Metals, it's like crafted for him. And Rancor, oh, it fits him like a glove. So, you know, not that surprising. These guys have been running that map the whole time they've been a team. Clearly, that's their favorite map. Map 2, clearly LA Thieves' favorite map. They absolutely destroyed these guys, 6-2. They need some leg room, like the Drake lyric says. Yeah, I mean, 6 from everybody, 6. Funny I mentioned Drake. And then goes to 7, so they all did their thing. Control on protocol, of course, LA Thieves, bread and butter. They are probably the best protocol control team along with Faze, 1A and 1B, right? So, yeah, I mean, they look to be 1A or B, if not both, in this series right here on this protocol control with this vicious 3-1. 24-20 from Ghosty, 28-23 from Hydra, 25-17 from Scrap. Let's move on to the next one. They were absolutely belting here. Skyline Hardpoint, map 4. This was one of the best hardpoints of the year, without fail. There's only one that I can think of that's better, and it's actually an upcoming Faze hardpoint against Miami. Best hardpoint of the year, without question, without a shadow of a figment of a doubt. You will never see a hardpoint closer than that one got, and that's not spoiling. I will play the clip while we're reviewing the series because it's that insane. You guys just have to see it verbatim. Now, 45-27 out of Rancor is crazy to force the game 5, where he absolutely flatlined the LA Thieves with a 9-5. Guys, this is insanity. Let's check out the clip.
Fast wrap towards the B-bomb site, but the Heretics, they're maneuvering it.
He's got now, but he should be traded. Hydra shuts him down, but now a 1v1, and it doesn't lack Heretics. They have done it, the upset complete, and in the most dramatic fashion. You talk trash, and they let him know. Oh, my word. Talk trash about the challengers, wrong about that. Talk trash about the kid, and they let him know in game.
I don't know how much of that you guys heard because my mic died at the worst time, as per usual. But anyways, Scrap was like, who are you talking to? Like, yeah, this was a series of the year. I don't know if I said that. There was another series that I will talk about in a bit because it's very pertinent. Miami versus Faze, and it was crazy. So, speaking of another series involving Faze that was crazy, we had E Clasico, our favorite series to ever see in competitive Call of Duty, Optic versus Faze. We are going to see that Champs Round 1. Spoiler alert, by the way. So get ready for that one, guys. Actually, you know what? Let's intro the best rivalry in the history of COD by watching the ending to the map 1 where ADD, A Diddy, whatever you want to call him, was taking hostages and going absolutely nuts. Speaking of people going nuts, we have our series MVP. Who else but my mother flippin' goat, Chris Simp Lair, the man who shares my name and whose gunny I wish I had, right? So, without further ado, ladies and gents, let's get into it. So, let's look at this map 1 highlight. Who else but Tyler?
Hercules has got to go crazy. He's only able to get one. You've got numbers, I thought, in the street, but Optic have done enough to battle. There's the clearance on the point, though. Simp trying to soak up time, but can't stay alive. Not going to do it. You have a streak to work with, as you said. All the kills, they take out everybody. 240, 240. Hellstorm in. Away we go. What can Simp find from the skies? Takes out one. Everybody flying forward now. The hardpoint white Ningo Faze. 10 needed for the win. It's Shotzzy that finds an opening through the backside. Shotzzy another one. Two. Optic back in, and we've got a tie game. Shotzzy. Simp got two. 5 kills. Will it be Simp? Will it be Shotzzy, who is massive in the final moments as Nashi falls? 246, 246. Nobody's even here. It's the rotation as a BZ gets a triple. Map 1 is done.
Too easy for BZ. Stood up. Look at it. 41 from Shotzzy. He was absolutely screaming in this one. Now on the other side, everybody on the Faze side did their thing. BZ 33 and 30. Cell 28 and 31. Draws at 33 and 26. And the GOAT Simp 36 and 32 to lead the Faze side to a very close 4-point victory. In the map 2, Protocol S&D, we had another screamer from my boys. They pulled it out in the round 11. Let's see how they got it done. I mean, it's Optic versus Faze. That's why I'm watching these highlights. It was 250 to 246 in round 11. I have to. I did it earlier. I have to do it again.
Round 11 time. The pressure building. The venue sweating.
I was sweating. The BZ got the peach. Scream. I screamed. When he got this peach on stream, I screamed. I screamed so loud.
Bomb is getting planted.
Yeah, the third deal did the same exact thing as the Hardpoint where he gets 4 to win the game.
Can't get in with the utility trophy. Going to do its job. He's got both weapons to work with, but simply too many players.
So that's how they got it done in round 11. And that was pretty much the series. After that, the momentum was sorely in Faze's favor right there. Optic was able to take the Hossie control, which was very surprising. Going into Champs, this is definitely something to watch out for. Even though we will be playing on the new patch where the spawns on controller are not as crazy as they were from what we were seeing in the last couple weeks, Optic has definitely gotten a lot better, especially Hossie under control with this new roster that they have. So Faze will definitely want to make note of that. Now, in the red card, Hardpoint, Faze just dominated them. Dashy put up an absolute tour date, 11:30. Well, it's not even a tour date. There aren't 32 days in November. So, yeah, let's go next, guys. Let's look at the next series before this video becomes an hour-long video, which it probably will at this point. Why not, right? Last video of the year. I mean, who cares, right? Let's see. Let's move on to the last matchup of the Saturday slate, which was Optic Texas take on the Minnesota Rokkr. This is the Rocker's final stand on the season, so that's why I'm going to take a look at it. That's the significance of this series in the grand scheme of things. So, looking at the match, our MVP was who else but that boy, Mercules, Twercules, Hercules, whatever you want to call him. Twercules is a name I'm trying to really get going because I think it's absolutely fucking hilarious. So let's make it a thing. Hashtag Optic Twercules. Anyways, 1.15 in HP, 3.0 in S&D, and a 0.63 in control. We're not going to talk about that. Merc was absolutely the Fry man. He said, Fry's in the bag, Rokkr. You're not going to champs. Maybe it's time to find a new calling. Maybe that calling is Mickey D's. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, 250 to 153 is the calling that the Optic Texas boys had for this map score line. Yeah, Mercules, I mean, he called game 32 and 24, went absolutely nuts. And then Dashy Hook was right there with him, 28 and 24. And then on the other side, Nero dropped 29 27, but everybody else just got tucked to bed. Good night. Map 2 dealership S&D. More of the Mercules show, 12 and 4. The next closest person was his duo Dashy with 7 and 5. And on the other side, Estro was the only one who really came close to putting up a valiant effort on his own, going 9 and 6, but everybody else was just a few steps behind. Now, in the control on Vault, that being the map 3, we of course saw the Minnesota Rokkr finally get their get back. They finally woke up a little bit. They 3-0'd here. They made it look effortless. Geo was 16-7, Kenny 15-10, Nero 17-9, and Estriel 13-10 to get it done and make things a little bit easier for themselves going into a map that Optic was definitely highly favored on. Hacienda is a map that they were very strong on, no matter the mode that they're playing on. Control, Hardpoint, S&D, they're definitely very comfortable on that map. So, them getting it done 250 to 235 was not that surprising. Honestly, Mercules was the standout here. He went 28 and 28. And yeah, Rokkr almost got done in the back half, but Optic, they were just better. And they were able to close it out because they had such a large gap built up throughout most of the game. And Rokkr was able to come roaring back. Well, honestly, they didn't have a lead. It was neck and neck. I was thinking of a different game. So yeah, I mean, it was a close game up until the end. It's just Optic. They pulled away when it mattered. And yeah, they built up a decent gap. So yeah, I mean, Rokkr, they made like the goal line stand for their season. They tried their very best, but you know, it's just rough when your back's up against the wall like that and you have to be perfect to qualify for champs. If they had won some of the less important matches online, they wouldn't have been like no. So in the bottom half of the bracket, elimination round 3, we have the Miami Heretics taking on Optic Texas with Mercules. Now this is where I think the Optic Texas dream run probably ends. I think Miami, honestly, with their aggression, their pacing, the way they play, on to that next. All right, so LA Thieves, they beat the Toronto Ultra, as you guys can see on screen. I'm not going to talk too much about that one. Ultra, they just looked out of sorts this weekend. When LA Thieves was playing them, I do remember from that matchup, LA Thieves just made them look like absolute amateurs. So, yeah, not a lot to break down. Let's look at the box score briefly, just to be thorough. I mean, this video has been so long, like I've said so many times. Why not? I'm not going to look at the Optic Texas versus LA Thieves box score because that one was ugly. 250 to 195, 6-1, 3-1 for the Ultron Vault, and 250 to 224 in the Skyline HP. Ghosty, put him to sleep. The player picture is very fitting. 1.18 in HP, 1.25 in S&D. So, yeah. Map 4. Yeah, it was the Ghosty show, 38 and 26. He said, "You're going home." And, yeah, he sent Ultra home. So, looking at Elim round 4, what we had to start off our championship Sunday, we had the green ball going up against the LA Thieves. You guys know, I just said a second ago, that one was not pretty. I don't want to look at it. So I'm going to say that So yeah, that's that on the LA Thieves first series of the day. Then in the winners finals, you guys can see I had a Faze 3-1, and a 3-1 is indeed what came to fruition. So let's see how my boys got it done. Now, map 1, like I told you guys not too long ago, was absolutely the hard point of the CDL season. I will probably upload a recap of that one, a highlight of that stream highlight. I'm not sure. Maybe. I'm going to try to upload some stream highlights for champs. So be on the lookout for that on the channel. That'll be seeded just randomly. So anyways, the map 1, series MVP, of course, a BZ 1.46, 0.4 in SD. That's uncharacteristic for him, and a 1.13 in control. So let's look at the map 1. It was absolutely insane. Finish of the year for sure. Okay, let's look at both parts. I mean,
somehow win the rotation to Rock. Who the hell knows? But one break, and we are done. The contest is still here. Sip going big again. He's straight. Get them back into it. There's a team kill.
To the point.
Gets on it. The contest is there long enough.
Rotation
rotation. The tick rotation is real, but the boys are flying over. Faze still a chance to do this.
They need 1 second.
Able to detest 199, 249, and Apizi's going to be able to get 2.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Somehow we have had some insane hard points this weekend, and we're going to have another one. Map 1 on winners final. Metals always on it for half a second, and they continue to contest.
It just continues to be a half second. They need that one more half second to close it out, but they cannot find it. Oh, this is stressful. There's a team kill for Heretics. Faze, I think, have the tick right now to win it if they get a perfect hold. Joe, what do you see on the map?
Meow's going to go on a long route, and they did the first, so it's all down to Rokkr. And while Zell, he's going to pick up the pinch. But, well, everyone's did kills here for Faze, but they cannot win here.
Part 2.
Well, everyone's did kills here for Faze, but they cannot win here. We're going to go to a P1 if this happens, if they hang on to the P4.
There's a team kill. Pressure to Apizi now. Pressure.
Now rotation.
Makes diamonds. Apizi able to get 2. Another
might do the Hellstorm.
Everything. So close to the Hellstorm. First up is going to be draws. Hellstorm is locked and loaded. We'll see when it comes into play. 10 points down.
Someone's out of contest.
Hellstorm in. The fight for the point. The Sip is able to get 1. Heretics still searching for a point. They're able to get 2.
They did
test it there. The streak will hit. Someone's got to get on it. Apizi going to lunge into it. We are not done yet. Graza's got the help from the top. Graza is in. Faze have got it. Hey, all the way. Heretics win it. Holy
Look at the reaction.
Woo!
Super's like, is my heart still beating? I mean, come on. If that doesn't make you love Call of Duty, I don't know what would. Like, that is honestly one of the most insane things I've ever seen. I've watched competitive everything my whole life. MLB, NBA, NFL. I even watch soccer sometimes. Like, I've never seen anything like that, apart from maybe the 3-1 comeback from LeBron James himself. Like, this is one of the most insane things I've ever seen in my life, bar none. Like, you guys just have to, like, respect that. I mean, wow. Like, Miami have absolutely ascended to being the team that Vancouver Surge thought they were. So, not even going to look at the rest of the series because that map 1 was just all time. That's one of the greatest hard points in the history of COD that we've ever seen, without question, without fail. So, speaking of the word fail, that is the imperative word that I'm going to use to describe Miami Heretics' performance against the Vancouver, the LA Thieves, who were waiting for them in the winners finals. And yeah, this set up an all-time receipt topic. So let's check that out. I'm going to pick the Vancouver Surge again. I feel like I'm 3 this year, so I don't see why that would. I think it'll be Miami might be 0.5 Vancouver. So when these let's hear my take on Miami and Vancouver
this year. So the vibe, these guys are elimination bracket demons. They absolutely always find a way to make it to Sunday and get a top 3 this year. So I don't see why that would stop on the behalf of the Miami Heretics. I feel like Vancouver is evolved Miami, right? Like, I feel like Miami might be 0.5 Vancouver. So when these two finally face off in the bracket, if they do, I think that should be an absolute banger of a matchup. I think it'll be really fun to see if Miami Heretics are the improvement on the model or if Vancouver Surge are the perfection of the model. So yeah, let's check out the top half of the bracket. Another Red War, Faze versus LA Thieves. Double points, Monster Energy. I feel like Faze is on this matchup right now. They're 4-1 against LA Thieves. If you are a person who likes stats like I do, 80% win rate is very, very convincing for me. 2 of those wins are on land, 2 are online. Most recently, it's been, I believe, 4-0 for Faze. I think they lost the first series to LA Thieves online early in the season, but I'm pretty sure they haven't lost to them since their first loss. So I see this continuing. I feel like Faze, they just have this matchup kind of figured out at this point, how they want to play it. Also, they are the longer tenured team between the two. So the chemistry and everything, these are still pulling it together. This is year 1 for them, obviously. Okay, so my take, I guess, about winners bracket and the chemistry and stuff was, I guess, somewhat right because Thieves did get knocked out by Miami. So I guess in terms of the logic holding up, the logic held up, but the pick held up too. I mean, Thieves won Faze won winners finals. They won 3-1 against Miami. I had them winning 3-1 against Thieves. So actually, you know what? W call on me. I got 4 points. So fuck it, we ball. Now, speaking of another match where I got 4 points, we had the LA Thieves absolutely slamming the Miami Heretics. I'm going to pull up that series just so we can see the receipt at the end for the cash that Super wrote that his ass could not cash. That brother wrote a check that his ass could not cash. I said the cash that he wrote that he couldn't cash, but the check that he wrote that he couldn't cash. All right. So let's see the receipt.
Yo, there are no open avenues of attack. Real's gotten through, but he has no teammates near him.
The clock will now tick down. The Heretics have just hit the map. 10, 8, 7, 6. Counting them down. We're getting ready to ring the bell. Final seconds. 1. It's over. Oh! It's not over yet. Done. Ring the bell. This bout is over.
Revenge is a dish best served with bodies shot across the board. Disrespect shown in the grand final.
Damn. I mean, yeah, like talk shit, get hit. Like that's the reality of life, bro. Like that's how I grew up. Like you don't just go around talking shit to people, expecting them to not get mad as fuck and eventually talk shit back to you or do something back to you. So I don't know, man. Like I wasn't raised to do all that, like fucking with people. Pardon my French. So I didn't really take too kindly to the super thing. Like, you know, I grew up in too many urban environments. Like, it's just not something that I've ever seen play out well for people. So I'm never a fan of that shit. So I was happy that, like, when it did happen, it got checked in a way where it was safe. But the message was clearly delivered. Hey, man, like, keep this shit to gaming. Like, let's not make this weird, you know? So that's my opinion on it. You know, it's great to get excited about big moments in your life in context, but act like you've been there before is definitely a saying I like to remember in moments of, you know, great excitement, because that saying will guide you and keep you safe. So, speaking of people who needed to be guided and kept safe, my home team Atlanta Faze, they were not safe in these grand finals. LA Thieves, they were rabid dogs, ready to absolutely take them out. Envoy said this year we take everything. He failed in the first half. In the back half, that might be true. So, let's see how the LA Thieves got it done in the grand finals. So, map 1, actually, let's start with the box score as usual, as always. Who else was the MVP of the grand finals but Mr. Paco Hydra himself? That boy was absolutely unkillable. Looking at the box score, Celium with a 1.13 and Simp with a 1.05. And then on the other side, you had Envoy, Hydra, and Scrap all going positive. That was a big difference maker. Honestly, everyone in the lobby was shooting. Like, the lowest KD in the lobby is a 0.82, which is not really that bad. Minus 21, you don't want to be that in the grand finals, but we've seen some pretty bad grand finals performances. Shout out to the Vancouver Surge. So the bar is definitely in hell. So that's why I'm going to say Draza, you know, doing his little hula hoop, hopping over that low ass bar on the ground. You got that, gang. Like, 04 set that bar way below the ground, brother. It's below sea level. So they drowned that one out. Anyways, enough bad puns about the Vancouver Surge. Let's talk about the ass whooping that Faze took. Yeah, I mean, Scrap pulled up like Aaron the Plumber. He wanted all fades, Brodesky, and he ran them. So 33 and 25 on map 1. Scrap, like I said, Aaron the Plumber running all fades, 35 and 28. Not a lot to say there. 251.77. Thinking Thieves in the first one. Second one, similar story. Thieves took out the belt and lashes straight to the Atlanta Faze ass cheeks. I mean, it wasn't pretty. Hydra, 9 and 6. Scrap, 10 and 5. They wanted this one. They were cooking. And Envoy, big brain Envoy, he's right there with them with the 7 and 6. Excuse me. Now, Protocol Control went 3-2 in the way of Atlanta Faze. They finally woke up. They finally got a belt of their own. They said, hey, we learned your ass whooping combos. Now we're going to slightly telegraph them a little bit for a couple minutes. Abizi went 37 and 27. Simp went 33 and 25. And then, of course, Celium was right there, 29-28. But on the LA Thieves side, Envoy's the only one positive. So, yeah, great showing from Faze. Close game 5 win. And then they chained that into a 250 at 235 on Skyline, a hard point that I definitely favored them on. I felt like it's one of their best hard points, and they clearly proved it against an LA Thieves who are clearly very dominant on this map as well. So the 250 at 235 came from a 36 and 21 performance from Celium and a 32 and 22 from Simp. So looking at the LA Thieves side, Ghosty had an uncharacteristically bad 16 and 29, and Hydra had 31 and 30, and Envoy 31 and 29. So very close. If you had a more characteristic game from Ghosty, probably a 3-1 lead for the Thieves, you'd have to think. Then in the map 5, the red card S&D, the Thieves took a decisive 6-3 victory. They absolutely waxed Faze. They looked completely dominant. Hydra was 11 and 3, doing whatever he wanted. And yeah, I mean, they did whatever they wanted in the Hacienda control, where Hydra popped a 3-piece that made me almost want to turn off the stream. And yeah, I mean, these guys, they looked final here. Once again, we're at the back half of the year. where Hydra wins Major 4 and 5, and he's on the precipice of going back to back to back. That's how I want to end this video. Congrats to the LA Thieves. Hydra, you are a beast, brother. I am getting fucking PTSD, chat. This is an hour-long recording. I'm about to get out of here before I absolutely spiral, thinking about the fact that I could really see this guy get 2 3-peats in my lifetime at the expense of my team. I'm out, guys. It's been a long day. This is an hour-long recording after I had an extra long work day. So hope you guys appreciate all the effort. Thanks for all the love, comments, subscriptions, likes, whatever you guys have been showing me. I've been seeing it and appreciating it. So thank you guys. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night. Like I said before, the site's going up soon, so be ready for that. If you watch this long, I don't know how. Thank you. But I just wanted to get everything out there, do a little bit different of a format here. And I hope you guys enjoyed my audit of my video. Hope you enjoyed me doing something a little bit different, a little bit more fun and whimsical. And yeah, I will catch you guys on the next video, which will be a recap and audit of my HCS bracket from DreamHack Dallas as well. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night, like I said before. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Once again, this is Chris from Fake Sports News, Axis Rotation, however the flip you know me on these interwebs. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.